Good evening. It is April 13th, 2016, approximately 7 p.m. This is the meeting of the Auburn Conservation Commission. This meeting is being recorded for further viewing, and it can be viewed by going to the town website, auburnguide.com. Before we begin, I am required to ask if anyone is making a recording of this meeting. Okay. No one indicating that they are. The first item on tonight's agenda is the 7 o'clock public hearing. Masad Family LLC, the filing of a notice of intent for the realignment of Faith Avenue. Is there a motion open?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All is in favor?
Aye.
Opposed to vote. Now, I understand that the applicant has requested to continue the public hearing tonight. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And they did not request a specific date?
No, I don't believe so.
All right. I mean, normally when we get requests for continuance, the applicant does specify the date for the meeting to be continued. In this case, Mr. Kravosky, who represents the applicant, has appeared before us. Is there a motion to continue the public hearing in this matter to April 27th, 2016?
I so move.
I'll second.
Okay. What time do we have open on the
So
27th?
we can make it right to 7.
Okay. So at 7 p.m.?
Yes.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote. Okay. The next item on our agenda, which was also scheduled for 7 p.m., is a request for determination, or actually for reconsideration by the town of Auburn for regarding an area of wetlands in a stream located in the area of 3 and 7 Magna Vista Drive. Is there a motion open?
I make a motion that.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed to vote. Mr. Coyle?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission. I wanted to come before you this evening just to request a reconsideration on the request for determination of applicability that had been filed. We did provide additional information for the work to be done at number 3 and number 7 Magna Vista, a scope for work in the form of a letter to the chairman. Also, additional plans indicating the sewer easement over number 3 Magna Vista. The board, or the commission rather, voted a positive determination, which would indicate the need for a final notice of intent. So I thought I'd come before you to probably provide you with additional information for reconsideration with our belief that the work would not potentially fill, dredge, or alter the wetland or the resource area. In particular, as outlined in the letter, the work that we intend to do. First of all, we were contacted by the property owner at number 3 Magna Vista, Mrs. Wharton, who's here this evening, because of the beaver dam is impacting her property and some of the adjacent properties. And it so happens that we have a sewer easement that runs through this area as well. And I guess the justification for the town to be removing this beaver dam is because of our sewer easement in this area. So what we would intend to do is the mini excavator would stay completely on the upland area, and it would not go anywhere near the resource area. We would extend out with the boom of the excavator, reach down with the teeth of the excavator and just the bucket rather, and just basically clamp onto it and pull the debris out. We would swing around and put it on the upland area. And we would move that out, or remove that from the site. If you don't remove it, the beavers will take it and rebuild the wetland. So we would remove that from the site. We weren't planning on taking any trees down. I think there was a request either by the commissioner or the abutters. If it's something that could be done without any complications, we'd certainly be willing to do that. If there's some that seem to be hazardous, our intention was to go in there and carefully remove the dam. We would start very slowly. Either myself or Joanna would be there, and I would probably plan on being there to just initially. We've done this before, so we know that, and we've all read articles in the newspaper where people remove beaver dams and they take it and remove too much, and next thing you know, they're causing a flooding issue downstream. So we would just remove a very small portion And whether or not, it's not a real large body of water behind. I've had somewhere we'll go in and remove a small area where you have this much water flowing, and we'll leave for the day and come back the next day because it's a massive body of water, and it would take 24 hours to drain down. In this particular case, that's probably not the situation, but it's possible. If we remove it and it's not draining down, we would just leave and come back and remove some more. So we would do it very carefully, very slowly, because we don't want to create any problems downstream. Fortunately, there's not roadways or anything else downstream, but still, you know, we don't want any erosion. So again, all the work would be with the mini excavator away from the wetland area, just reaching in with the boom and picking away at this beaver dam and just removing it from site. Ideally, we'll have the truck will either be back down to the area. If we can't get down, we'll pile it further away from the wetland and just pull it up and load it in the truck as soon as we can get to the truck and remove it. And that would be it. We don't plan on doing any work in the wetland itself.
Okay. How long would it take you to do this work?
If it does drain down quickly, the dams aren't that big. We could have it all done in one day. We may do one each day, depending on how long it takes to remove it. I don't anticipate going in with chainsaws. I know it's indicated in here. That's a possibility. I mean, it is possible, but I don't anticipate it.
Because some of the trees look like they're like already kind of chewed up and ready,
Yeah.
like they're almost ready to go. So I think that was, you know, again, if you're gonna be in there, shouldn't you just get that done at the same time and take that away with it?
What I usually recommend the homeowners to do, because it's within the
That's
sewer
you.
easement, is,
Right.
well, we're not really the property
Right,
owner, we just have an easement.
Okay.
We've had some trees where the beavers will start chewing away at it. I mean, this one here, if we can get to that one easy enough and we can drop it and pull it out, we certainly don't mind doing that, and we'd be willing to do that. We've had larger trees, and what we do is we recommend that the property owners put chicken wire around the tree to protect it. But that one's pretty small. If that's the only one, I mean, we could drop that. It would probably drop it so it's landing towards the dam. We could just grab it and pull it right out.
All right.
Yeah, that one would be bad.
Where would the, what you're taking out be placed on property? You said you'd be taking it out and,
Yeah, we would take that out. That, considering the size, we'd bring that to the brush pile.
And that would probably help deter them because they'll hopefully leave. Is that what the hope is, that
Well,
they're gonna go away?
you know, I know Mrs. Wharton has tried to keep up with her own property, and I did express to her that we can't keep coming back to do this continuously. So it's really something that's going, I think, is more of an issue with the property owners, and it just so happens our sewer line does run underneath it. You know, ultimately, would it create a problem? The beaver would have to be really ambitious and build quite a dam for it to flood out our manholes. I don't think that the likelihood of that is really that significant. So I know the property owners are going to try to keep up with it. The only other recourse would be to trap the beavers. I mean, typically, I've only had to do that in one instance since I've been here, and unfortunately, sometimes you have to. I had one that was down on Oxford Street North where it was actually flooding property in Worcester, and it was getting right to their doorstep. So we had no recourse but to trap them. But in this particular case, I know the property owners could petition to trap them, the water district could, but it opens up to a very large pond. So there could be 20 beavers in there, so it could get quite costly.
I know, Stoneville has them, so.
Right, right,
I know I have.
yeah. And a lot of times people do contact us, and there's not much we can do because it's not on our property.
Right.
We really don't have any responsibility, and in this particular case, it happens to be that we do have an easement there, so we're able to go in there and try to help out the residents as well.
Great.
Any other questions from the board?
Bill, do you recall when I was on the Spencer Conservation, Malcolm Spiker?
Spiker.
Does he still do that beaver
He
deceiver
does.
stuff?
The beaver deceivers, he does, and I constructed one on South Street before as well, and they do work. This situation here might be a little more complicated to build one because it's not directly into a culvert. They're coming right out of the pond,
Right.
and building it onto the river. Not to say one couldn't be constructed here. I mean, it's a possibility. It'd probably be a little complicated here.
Yeah.
But you're right, you could build beaver deceivers at certain culverts, because when they hear that water flowing, that's what attracts them. So if you can keep it so that they don't hear the water, then they tend to go away.
Mrs. Warren, do you have any comments?
Only that the two beaver dams were constructed, they're way down in the woods. And, I mean, I really didn't pay much attention what was happening in the woods. And they were there, all of a sudden you happen to see that the water is now starting to absorb half of my yard before I noticed this was
Right,
happening. And the same with the Roachfords, they have two storage facilities in back of their house, and the dam is behind it. So they never saw it being built either. And by the time we realized it was happening, it's like concrete. And, I mean, I only breached mine this much just to keep the
Right.
water going,
Right.
and that took me weeks to do.
Right.
Roachfords can't even do that. They've tried picks, they've tried everything. They can't do it. This is twice the size of mine.
I think we all believe that this has to get fixed for you. We just want to fix it so that they don't have to
Yeah.
go in every other
But
year
it,
and
just
do
like I
it.
said, the woods
Yeah.
are there.
Right.
And unless you go down there all the time, I mean, I was working for a living at the time.
Right.
I wasn't going down in my woods.
Right. I agree. I know.
I mean, I guess the only
And they're
question,
busy, so.
Yeah.
I guess the only question I had was, is the RDA process the way this sort of thing should normally be filed for? Or is this more of a sort of, whether it's an emergency or not, isn't it more of an emergency certification? So, because it just seems like if this is in a wetland area, you file an RDA, then the answer is yes, it's jurisdictional. But wasn't the whole emergency certification, wasn't this one of the categories of things that was supposed to fall under that, so you didn't have to go through the whole NOI? Or go through the RDA to ask whether or not you need to file an NOI?
It wasn't originally filed that way,
Okay.
you know, and I think what we can do is that now, and I think our criticism was that when this was presented to our board the last time, we didn't have sufficient details on how the work was gonna be done.
Right.
You know, I think, to my mind at least, the letter that Mr. Quellis provided, I think, sets forth really a scope of work and really does a good job in terms of describing what needs to be done and how it's going to be done. So, okay. Any other comments from the public? Okay. Any further discussion from the board? Okay. There being none, is there a motion to close?
Make a motion that we close.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's a vote. Thank you, Mr. Coyle.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Bill.
Good night.
Yeah, okay.
And Mr. Coyle, it's going to be some time before our next public hearing. You and I had discussion, actually not so long ago, about property at 4 Pioneer Lane.
Yes.
Would you care to share that with members of the board?
Yes, I did. Actually, there was a complaint a while back that I went out and reviewed the site, and I was actually out there again today. And it seems clear that the property owner has graded around the site. I believe there was a small wetland area to the back right-hand corner. I think Matt Benoit, about a month or so ago, when we received the first complaint, had found an old plan that showed there's a wetland. Didn't show it as such, as you can see, as a standing body of water. I think what's happened is the property owner, it appears to me that he's filled the back left corner of the house and is now dammed up the water.
Yeah.
Has trapped the water. So I think there needs to be an effort made on their part to determine what the original grade was, and they can look at historical. I mean, that's a pretty good picture right there. You can see, looking at that photo, the top right corner, if you go back, looks like where the water, that top right corner looks like where the water
Going down.
originally had drained to. And since he's filled that in, the water is now trapped. So you could do a couple of things. They could actually check old topo maps to see if it shows that level of detail, or they could even dig some test pits to identify where that fill ended. And if they didn't scrape off that top and subsoil, which they probably didn't, you'll be able to identify where the original grade was, and they should be able to restore that back to the original grade. So I think they need to, whether or not they, I know Mr. Kowalski has been contacted. They may need to have an engineer involved too, to prepare a plan to show a level of detail to restore that property back to the original grade that existed prior to the disturbance.
Is Pioneer Lane served by public water and sewer?
Yes,
Okay. That would explain why no deep hole was dug or test pits were dug.
correct.
Okay. All right. In connection with this, and Mr. Fallon and I went to the property, and Ms. Corbo went afterwards. I issued an emergency or an enforcement order on my own authority, and I'd actually asked the board to ratify the enforcement order that was issued for Pioneer Lane on April 7th. So can I have a motion to that effect? Please?
Motion to ratify the enforcement order?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed to vote? Okay, thank you.
That had to be 7 minutes.
So, I've been informed that apparently this was mailed out to I looked at, went online and looked at the Registry of Deeds records, and it appears the property is owned by a Linda Lee. But the person that has been associated with the property, at least with regard to this board, is a Richard Fan, who I think is the contractor. So I understand that this has been mailed out to Mr. Fan, and hopefully to Ms. Lee at the property address. It's apparently new construction. So with any luck, we will hear from them before April 27th. In fact, under the terms of the order, they have to provide us with a restoration plan by April 27th. So whether that's going to happen remains to be seen. But Mr. Grabowski was put on notice that an order was going to be issued, given the conditions at the property. And also, this came to my attention, I think it came to the attention of Mr. Coyle and also Caleb Mooney and Darlene Coyle, when an abutter at 2 Waterman Road indicated that their property was being flooded, and we observed those conditions on our site visit. I know Mr. Coyle did too, so if Ms. Lee or Mr. Fan are watching this, I just want to make them understand it's very important that they respond to us and take the situation seriously, because aside from any flooding that's occurring at the adjacent property, that much standing water, and it's stagnant, and there's no source that I could find, is going to constitute a public health threat when it gets warmer, and that cannot be allowed to exist. So, and again, if no action is taken and taken quickly, this board has the authority to issue fines. And in a situation like this, that's a possibility. So I'll leave it at that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Right, we could still, we could discuss,
Yeah, 498 Rochdale Street, Bill could stay for that too.
Sure. We'll get you out of here quickly.
That's all right. That's okay.
might as well.
Mr. Fallon and I also went to 498 Rochdale Street over the weekend, in part because of a complaint from an adjacent property owner, Mr. Barokas at 500 Rochdale. And I think there are photographs that I took that have been downloaded.
Those are up there.
So what's happened, and when we wait till we get those, there you go. Okay. So what's happened is that the property owner has reestablished a channel connecting a stream that is, well, it's to the left of the pictures, or the first picture at least. And what's happening is that all the water is now being diverted into the wooded area. And when we went out there, it was flowing really well. So Mr. Barokas, I think, felt that because of the reestablishment of the channel, it might be, or might have caused flooding of his driveway, although it is not clear based on what Mr. Coyle determined that is actually the case. And could you just enlighten us?
Sure, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I received a call about a month or so, maybe 4 to 6 weeks ago, from Mr. Barocas. And it was a night that we had very heavy rain, and I think we probably had 2 inches of rain overnight. And the water had actually flooded out and gone over his driveway. And at that time, when I was there the next morning, it had receded and was no longer going over his driveway. But from what I could tell, I know he was concerned that it was the abutters' work that had caused the flooding. And at that time, the whole area was flooded. It wasn't going over his driveway. But it seemed to me that what was happening is the pipe that drains that entire wooded area, which drains, it goes diagonally across West Street to the house that was just renovated in that general area. But we can't find the inlet of that pipe, so it's not draining properly. So I believe, and I'm not 100% certain, I think we still need to do a little more research on this, but my current belief is that that whole area is flooding and it can't drain through the pipe that it's intended to drain through. Some of the water is going through, but it's not at its maximum capacity. So because of that, it had filled up that whole wetland area and had gone over Mr. Barocas' driveway. Since then, we did go in and try to find that inlet of that drain line. We were unable to find it, but we did locate the manhole, which is just a couple feet off of West Street, Rochdale Street, where it's located, and we opened that manhole, and the water's flowing pretty significantly into that manhole. So even though we can't see the pipe, it is getting there. And in fact, the day after that storm, I could see the water circling around where it was draining. So I have a general idea where the pipe exists, but we just haven't been able to unearth it yet. And without going in there and doing, disturbing too much of an area, the next thing I would like to do is, there seems to be another manhole that we believe is buried that you can't see. So I'm going to go with a metal detector, and that would be just off of Rochdale Street. If we can find that manhole, I can run the sewer jet truck, this very large snake that we run through the sewer systems, and jet that line out. And then I would be able to see where this bubble is up, and then I can find that inlet where the flow is restricted.
Do you think the pipe, and I know it's not a fair question, but do you think the pipe is of sufficient capacity to be able to drain the area?
In speaking with the resident at number 500,
Oh, that's you?
she had indicated that back in October of '05, when we had the major floods, that area did not overflow. But what I suspect may have happened, I don't think that pipe can handle a 100-year storm. So
Right.
probably in October of '05, it probably went over Mr. Barocas' driveway. So I think what happens is, in a major storm, if that pipe can't handle the flow, Mr. Barocas' driveway is going to go in water. Only he would know how often that's happened. Whether or not the solution would be, the problem is I don't want to create a problem downstream either, because going across Rochdale Street, then there's some residents that are down lower there as well.
Right.
And I believe that pipe it might be a 15-inch pipe, which is pretty significant, but right now where it's completely buried, the capacity of it is significantly less than what it should be.
So you think it's just silt?
I think it's silted over, leaves, silt, and just over many, many years has silted over. And I think we will find it, and working with the property owner, I think we can get to it. I just want to make sure that we're careful, we minimize any disturbance as much as we can.
Okay.
So I think the next step would be to try to work through that manhole and see if we can find some evidence exactly where it is. I think we're within 5-6 feet of it.
Right.
Because right where we unearthed a hole where we believe the pipe to be, the water that you saw, which is a pretty significant flow, going into that hole, and it's not filling up.
Right.
So we have to be close, or it wouldn't be draining that fast.
Okay.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
Do you think you're gonna be able to find the manhole and maybe snake it out by the time of the next meeting in 2 weeks?
We'll definitely make every attempt to get it done in the next 2 weeks.
Could you just, by email or some other means,
Yes.
just notify us of your progress?
Yes, absolutely. I'll keep the commission posted.
Okay, that'd be great.
We'll get back out there and see what we can do.
Okay. Mrs. Brocas?
No, I'm Judy Michelson at 500 Rock.
She's
Hill.
500.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Do you have any comments or anything you wish to
I
add?
have a lot of concerns, actually.
Mhm.
concerning the pipe and it's drain, I'm not convinced that it's the pipe, I
Okay.
guess, I should say.
Mhm.
I'm concerned that the water that's there now is flowing, it's flowing. If they dug a hole and there's a hole right by my stone wall, while they were looking for the pipe,
Mhm.
and you can see the water is pooled up in there and it's flowing, it's moving water, it's not standing still. Where Mr. Barakas's driveway is, that's way away. And I don't see any
So you're
channel.
on the other side,
Yes, I'm on the other side of Goodman, and
Okay.
who's in the middle.
right?
I guess my biggest concern is I think it's the middle property owner that disturbed all of the land
Mhm.
in the front.
Right.
Which, I mean, I've been there, I grew up in that house. I know that for the entire time I've ever been there,
Right.
we've never had flooding issues because that land in the middle would soak up most of the water, and what it didn't soak up went underground and out through whatever pipe, wherever that pipe goes, I don't know.
We're very familiar with that property and also with Mr. Goodman, and we are keeping our eye on it. I think at this point, I'd like to see what the DPW can determine in terms of trying to maybe snake that line open. And I think, like you say, if they're ever successful and it ends up draining that wooded area, then I think that's going to go a long way to maybe addressing some of your concerns. If it doesn't, then we can revisit that issue.
And as far as the pipe going under my driveway, I guess I'm concerned about my driveway as well. If you snake that through, if it disturbs my driveway or sinks it, or what are the ramifications or solutions that you would have if that happens?
Well,
Would you be
if we were to run
responsible
this through the chair, if we were to, yes, we would be. If we were to run the snake through, first of all, if it was damaging your driveway, that means the pipe is deteriorated. Because it should
No,
be.
my driveway's fine right now.
Not, right, but what I'm saying is that pipe should be it's a confined pipe. So the water should not escape that pipe other than through in this case, the inlet side. So if the water somehow came through that pipe and was washing away your driveway, that means the pipe is deteriorated and we'd have to replace it anyhow. So then anytime that we go and replace a pipe on any project, we would do all necessary repairs when we're done. So I don't expect that to happen.
Okay.
And I think that, and just to your point of, the property, the adjacent property soaking up the water, during a major storm like we had that night, most of that water is surface runoff. Okay, very little of it getting absorbed because it's coming down so fast, so it
He's
just runs
reshaped
down.
the land, he's re-sloped it
Yeah.
down
We
that
know.
way.
Right, and I don't disagree with you on that, and I can't say 100% certainty that hasn't affected anything, but at the current moment, I'm of the belief that it's that pipe's not functioning properly that's causing this significant flooding. That may still pond during a major storm, it'll act like a giant retention pond. But my hopes are that if that's functioning properly, Mr. Barokas's problems of his driveway going under water would be significantly less than it is today. And whether or not in '05, he may have gone underwater, and he may still go underwater from time to time, but that frequency should be lessened significantly.
And I also want to make sure that there's no plans or you're not intending to build any trenches from his property over to the
No, I
pipe.
wouldn't. We're gonna work with you, because that's actually your property right there where we would be working, so I'll coordinate with you. If we feel as though we need to move over 5 feet where the pipe might be, I'll let you know, because there's actually a tree right there that, it's about a 6-inch tree, that if we start digging, that tree might come down. So I'd wanna show you and get your permission to do that before we do anything. So I will work with you closely. We need to identify where that pipe is first, and we'll do whatever we can to try to find it and open it up.
Okay.
Okay, but I'll keep you coordinated. I have your phone number, but we'll coordinate with you.
Okay.
Okay?
I'm just a little nervous.
Well,
We've never done anything to that land. We've
Yeah.
cleaned it up. It was all overgrown with wild
Sure.
brush or
No.
whatever. And we've got blueberry bushes, pear
And my
trees,
intent
apple
is
trees.
To do,
And I don't want to touch any of
Right.
that. I don't want any of that to
Absolutely.
get flooded
No.
because,
but our intent and our purpose is to go there to try to fix the problem, not to make a problem. So
Thank you.
we'll work with you on
okay,
that.
I appreciate
Okay.
that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. All right, Ms. Coyle, I think you're all set.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay, have a good night.
Thank you.
Good night, Bill.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mama.
Good night.
It's 7:30.
Yep, just about.
Good night.
I didn't know, Ken.
Mike, could I ask, where was he doing the snake from and to?
Somewhere he
It's
finds the top of the
Pretty
pipe.
much 500 Rochdale Street.
From 500
right in that area.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
the next item on our agenda is a 7:30 public hearing. The applicant is Tech Associates request for determination for the Providence and Worcester Railroad. Is there a motion open?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, a vote. I understand that there's been a request to continue the public hearing in this
Yes.
matter. Now, can you explain, my understanding is that the applicant is not happy with our decision that they need to give notice to abutters.
Correct.
And I think at some point they were trying to determine if they had a right of appeal.
They did contact Mass DEP to see if they could appeal it, and Judy Schmidt called me asking me, you know, where's the decision? I said, we haven't issued one. She said, well, they can't act on, if there's no decision, that she felt it was more of a civil matter or nothing
Right.
to do with the
Okay.
DEP.
So, do we know, are they going to appear before us on April 27th?
I'm hoping,
Okay. Is there a time?
same time, 7:30. I try to
Okay.
keep it the same time.
Okay, so is there a motion to continue the public hearing for Tech Associates to April 27th at 7:30?
So moved, I make a motion that we continue it to continue the open hearing to May 27th. I'm sorry, April 27th.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, to vote. Okay. I'm going to take this out of order because we still have about 15 minutes for the next public hearing. On Saturday, Mr. Fallon and Ms. Corvo and I went to 197 Packagug Street, and we met with Mr. Stencil. And we took a look at the property, and looked pretty dry to us. In fact, we didn't see any indication of any wetland that was present at that property. So I think it was the consensus of the three of us that there was no wetland issue there. So I think we feel that the matter is closed.
Okay.
Okay? Okay.
Do we need to make a motion on that, or are we good?
No, I think we're good. The other thing is that Mr. Moody had brought to my attention a situation at 28 Millbury Street. There's where the envelope company is, and going back on that property, there's a company called Mid-States Packaging. And I don't know how Mr. Moody found out about it, but apparently as part of their process, they use plastic pellets. And these are very, very small pellets. What's happening apparently is that as the pellets are being brought into the building, a number of them are escaping. They are apparently not being offloaded into the building, and there's evidence of these plastic pellets in the parking area next to the building, but also in the drainage structure, and
That's
there's
not
also
good.
an adjacent wetland area. So basically, we felt that because it was infiltrating the catch basin, and we thought there was a threat to the adjacent wetlands, it was appropriate to issue an enforcement order. This was also mailed to them, Sheila?
Yes.
What's interesting is that the owner is, the violation was at 28 Millbury Street.
Plus
I believe the owner is actually located at 150 Blackstone Road in Worcester.
Yeah, they were both sent certified letters, both and regular mail.
Okay, and did we get the certified cards back yet?
Not yet.
Okay. So I had actually requested that they appear before us, or I think with respect to Mid-States Packaging, that they provide us with a restoration plan by the 27th. So I think we'll continue this to the 27th, along with with 4 Pioneer Lane. But is there a motion? I'd like the commission to ratify what I did. Is there a motion to that effect?
Motion to ratify the enforcement order.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed to vote. Okay, thank you. Sheila, I knew that we got a request for extension from the Sportsman's Club.
Yeah, I double checked that, and that is good until next year, so she's gonna hold off.
Okay, so we can take that off the
Yeah.
agenda, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Take it off.
Very good. With respect to New England Power, the request for certificate of compliance, I've actually been in touch with the engineer. I had requested that we actually make a site visit before we just grant the certificates of compliance.
Yeah.
There are a number of crossings that are involved, and it's probably going to take a couple of hours to do it. So I actually made tentative arrangements with the engineer to meet him on Saturday. I think we talked about doing it at 9 a.m. I can circulate an email once I confirm that, if any of you are interested in attending,
Is that this Saturday, Mike?
it would be,
Okay.
because it's been pending, this has been pending for quite a while, so, and I think the weather's gonna be good this weekend, so, I think I'll be able to go. If anyone else wants to go, you're certainly welcome to join us. We still don't have an as-built for West Street, do we? For the
No.
middle school? Any idea when we might get that?
No, I guess I'll have to call somebody.
Okay, that would be helpful.
Yes.
Okay. Dare we take up one of the minutes? Let's look at the March 9th meeting minutes.
No, is there this?
This is the front, this is the-
Try the second page. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, it just says, yeah. And we'll-
Should we sign this also,
We need
Mike?
to
Is
sign
that what we need to do?
Yes.
Okay.
You need to sign it, okay. And as well as the mid-state one?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you make copies of those? Are those your copies?
No, those are the ones that are in there, they're printed out.
Oh, yeah. They were where? In the packet?
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's not the...
Here are my originals.
It's all right.
Okay,
That's
the
okay.
original, okay.
Here are my
You've got the
originals.
originals? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Then it's the originals. we
I
need to sign.
could
Okay.
have them in there, but,
These were copies, I'm sorry.
yeah, that's okay. Ooh, good shot. All right, so I'm gonna pass these around and have you sign them.
Great.
Yeah.
There you go, my dear. I was just gonna put these in with the file, I just made the copies
Okay.
of those, and I wanted to thank Matt Benoit publicly for helping me get those all on the thing so everyone could use them
Thank you, Matt.
better.
It's not here.
Yeah, well, he's watching.
Sure, he's here.
I'm sure it's not.
He's watching, he's over, he's probably
With
watching.
bated breath.
He's watching.
Not watching my work.
Yeah, oh,
So
all
they-
right,
you know.
okay. He's very helpful when it comes to computers, I'll tell you that. I've helped him many times.
When I go home, I'll let him know.
That's right, he was across the street from me.
That's right.
He's a good
He's
guy.
probably next to you.
I don't think so.
He just sent you something on the master plan
Yeah.
committee too, big one. It comes through my computer. No, it's nice.
With respect to the meeting minutes of March 9th, I see Mr. Reich is working on them. We'd started going over these at the last meeting though, haven't we?
We did.
Okay. So,
I don't have my copies here.
okay. Oh, you don't?
Here.
No. Do you have an extra one or?
I'm not good at proofreading.
Oh.
I skim it, so we're gonna let
Okay.
Dan do this.
All right,
I've
so
got
what,
one too. Yeah, Joe, okay, she's got one. You got one?
Okay, so when we just pick up where we left off
Yeah.
last week, on my copy I had, this would be, oh geez, begins with Mr. Kravoski, so it's probably almost, it's a little bit more than halfway down. Mr. Kravoski explained that sand has formed. So cross out the, put in that, and after sand, cross out the word that.
Okay.
About one, two, three, four. 4 lines after that, it begins the proposed realignment at the end. It says having full stormwater, and it should be management after stormwater.
Okay. You know what? Those were the old corrections that I've already made.
Okay.
I
All right.
emailed you the final, and I don't think this one was. So I corrected everything else we discussed, but
Okay.
we wanted to add this. So the green part,
I was wondering about that.
That's right.
the green part is the part that I added.
Okay,
And all those other corrections I have made.
okay, very
Just,
good.
I'm sorry,
All
that's
right,
what
thank
I
you,
put
I
them
see it
on.
now.
Yes, I should have made it a
Right,
different color.
Okay,
Got it right here.
all right, I see that now, thank you.
The one for green is the one that's just done, redone, right?
I added that.
The meeting minutes, at least to me, the meeting minutes for March 9th, as you've amended them, Sheila, look fine to me.
Okay, so on the second page, about a quarter of the way down, a request to amend the order of conditions was requested for plans submitted by, it sounds like we changed
We
this.
did,
about
I
Okay, good,
just
so
said,
that, okay,
I
All right.
had made the corrections.
Yeah, she did that.
I went and put these additions on, forgetting to do the corrections, so I went back, did the corrections.
We
and
just
then-
don't have it. She didn't.
Yeah,
change it.
I have it
Yeah,
in
she
my
changed
computer, yeah, I fixed
Okay.
that, and you're the
Alright.
one that added the stormwater management just before the green print. I have corrected that, and there was another one up here, something else I
okay, so like,
Got it.
So
okay,
that is all corrected.
okay.
It's just the green,
So
the
we're gonna
green
need
you're
to look
reading.
at that one,
That
right?
away.
So we really didn't need to look at the March 9th
know.
minutes then.
Well, you
Maybe the March
did because I added all the green.
The 23rd.
She made amendments to it. So my question is, are you satisfied with the amended minutes?
I am.
Yes, I am.
Dan? You're always the
Well,
final word. it
considering
says.
I didn't have the final version in front of me, I will have to
Yeah.
defer on that.
All right.
So,
Okay, so can I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to accept the minutes of March 9 as written.
I will second that.
Okay, if there's no discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
Abstain.
That's right.
To you, okay.
Still have four,
I
so
did
four.
email those corrected ones.
I did not look at them.
Okay, all right.
Okay. We have, I think we'll wait until the next public hearing before we tackle the minutes of March
Sounds
23rd.
good to me.
Okay. Give you a chance to recover.
Yes.
All right.
The next one is the 27th. This one's done. Just keep the minutes. I don't know.
Really tough.
Town's pretty much
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, this is.
Okay, it being 7:45, the next item on our agenda is the public hearing an application from Mass Electric Company doing business as National Grid. It's a request for determination for the change of existing switching equipment at the Pondville substation and the installation of 2 monopoles on property located at 17 Mill Street. Is there a motion to open?
I moved to open.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote. Good evening.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Jeffrey Peterson, and I'm a wetland and soil scientist with VHB. I work out of the Providence office, so this is the first time I've appeared before you.
Okay.
And before I start, I just want to say, you know, each time you appear before a commission for the first time, you have to go through all the regulations and, you know, make sure you're doing things right. I just want to say that your staff person, Sheila, is very patient and helpful. And, you know,
Now it's going to go to our head.
no, but I mean, without her help, you know, I wasn't familiar with the butter notices for RDAs and several things.
Okay.
And, you know, she did hear, I called her more than my fair share of times, I think, to clear things up. And she was always helpful. Basically, should I put this plan?
Sure.
Have an easel, have an easel.
I could put it up there, or I could hold it here, or?
No, we had an easel right there, is it behind the cover maybe?
I don't know.
There was one, that's.
It would go on the whiteboard too. Is that okay?
Yeah, if it goes on the record, that's okay.
I don't know how it's...
I think.
Sometimes yes, sometimes
Yeah,
no.
okay, as long as yeah.
Very good.
So this is the Pondville substation right here beneath my hand, and this is on Mill Street. And essentially, what Mass Electric wants to do is replace the 2 Turner D switches that are mounted on existing monopoles at the back of the station. The reason they want to replace those is they're 25 years old, and that particular switch has been failing to close securely. Opening is okay, I guess, but it's basically a program throughout their substations where this particular switch is installed. They're changing them out, and when they change them out, these I guess are dual phase switches on each one. They want to go to a single phase switch, and they want to spread out the infrastructure so that you know, there's more redundancy. And you know, if one of the poles or whatever were to be struck, you know, they could still switch power coming into the station. There are 2 transmission lines, the E5 and F6 line, that can feed this, and these switches are used to shift power back and forth among them. There are 2 activities that I need to discuss tonight. One of them, essentially, you know, we're notifying you of the intent of the electric company to conduct maintenance, which is exempt. And the maintenance activity that they're, you know, informing you of is the need to get behind the substation with matting so they can actually set up a crane and pick the switches off the top of the poles. And the reason for that is they can't safely operate a crane. There aren't clearances within the substation itself.
How much do they weigh?
The cranes?
No, the switches.
Oh, the switches? They're, you know, they're long, what do you call them? You know, poles basically that go up to the switch themselves. And I just went out there and looked at them myself because I was unfamiliar with what they are. I would assume they weigh probably about 40, 50 pounds.
Okay.
Something like that. And there are brackets and all kinds of things. Bangs, there are all these terms that I'm not familiar with. I'm sorry, I'm not an engineer, that they mount on. So, you know, a number of things would be coming off of that.
Okay.
Now you know, I went back here, and this area is basically a wet meadow. Not all that wet, because I walked back there in my sneakers. There's a central portion that is wetter. You know, the mats will go in, they'll do their work, and once they come out, the mats will come out, and that area will be restored. The mats are used to spread the weight of the equipment so the ruts aren't formed. There's other maintenance activity proposed. any of you have been by the station, the red cedar plantings along the the north side of the station are quite large, and a couple of several of them probably should have been trimmed a while back, but they do need to clear one out to make room for a monopole that they're proposing up here. And also some of the pines are actually overhanging on the south side, are actually overhanging into the substation, and they want to conduct a pruning of several of those also. In addition, there is a shrub thicket right in front of right here in front of the second monopole they propose to install, and they want to mow that area down. It's a mix of honeysuckle, glossy buckthorn, and then another shrub that and a native hazelnut, but it's gotten pretty wild and tall there, and they need to knock that back. There's also an apple tree here that won't be cut, but will be trimmed. And so we've talked, about the maintenance. The second activity that they propose, that they, require your determination for, is the addition of one of the monopoles within the buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetland. That monopole is located about 80 feet from the wetland edge in an area of a lawn area in front of the substation. We felt that with the compost filter sock and the other BMPs are talking about using a dewatering basin or with a bag in it in case they have to dewater the foundation hole. Also, they would use a concrete washout, to confine any concrete washout that they may need to have after they finish pours for the foundation.
How deep?
Generally, I may have given you a depth in that application, but generally there's somewhere between 8 and 15 feet. I think I actually cited what the engineer was proposing there, but I don't remember that. Got mine here. I just it's funny, each substation is different because it's based on the geotechnical report, and
I'm not sure it's in the narrative.
It's gonna be back on the plan.
okay, the excavation for each foundation will measure approximately 21.5 feet deep and 7 feet in diameter.
Pretty deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, they don't mess around.
Oh, yeah.
And how tall are these poles?
Let's see. 80 foot tall,
There you go.
galvanized. Yeah, they don't want to come back and have to replace these, anytime soon.
Sure. Do you have any idea how long it would take for the work to be completed?
Well, here's one of the things. What they need to do is, once they get permission to conduct the work, they apply to ISO New England for an outage, so that they can work on a cold line rather than a hot line. While they're waiting for that approval, often they'll go in and they'll build the foundations first.
Okay.
So, and then they'll come back later and erect the pole once the outage is approved.
So they actually have to figure out a way to transfer the power to where the lines.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
And right, and the thing that I keep on having to remember is the electric company themselves do not make that decision. It's the ISO New England, the power pool that they apply to, and it takes months
Okay.
to get that approval. And boy, if you miss an outage for some reason, people aren't happy, because you have to apply for the next one. So typically when this happens, if there's anything that they can do that doesn't involve, you know, that outage, they try to get that done first, so that they can quickly, you know, work in that short period they're given.
So do you think the pruning would take place first, then followed by the foundation construction?
I think that makes perfect sense. That's what they do. And they'd want to have the poles up before they actually went back to pick the old switches off too, because it wouldn't make sense to you can't take them off until you're ready to have, you know, the other changeover.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
Monopole being larger than a regular pole, or just,
Is that a term of art?
is it?
Yeah,
Monopole, just the basic one, or?
Well, you used to have like what were called lattice towers that had all those pieces. They'd come out with a crew of 20 people in a truck, and they'd actually, it's like a Rector set.
Right. That was-
Yes.
But these monopoles are basically one section sits on the other, and they just stand up like that. And they don't need guides, is the thing. The strength is basically taken from the foundation and brought right up the structure.
Well, I can imagine 21 feet below grade.
Yeah, that should be pretty fun foundation.
Well, I have a little history on that location.
Okay.
Back probably in the late 70s. My sister, we lived right across the street, and my sister's cat went over and
Uh-oh.
produced an outage.
Oh.
Of Packagug.
Oh, no.
The whole big section of Packagug went dark,
And
and it was
what
quite
happened
a...
to the cat? You can imagine, huh?
Yeah.
It became black.
Yeah.
It was calico.
Oh, jeez.
Oh.
Yeah.
So they would be doing this, replacing these without disturbing any electricity power?
Right. Yeah. They're that's what I
Plan.
understand.
Thank you.
The plan, right?
That's the way it's planned.
Right.
So you know that.
Here's
Oh, okay, wonderful.
And I basically drafted it off of you.
Okay, all right,
Which
great.
was Apple, mine's
Well,
Android.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Or on the date.
If there are no other questions, is there a motion to close?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Supposed to vote. Okay, Mr. Pearson, thank you
Thank you.
coming
So
in.
that's a negative determination?
We haven't decided.
Oh, okay, all right. But you agreed to close it here.
Yes.
All right.
Try though.
All right. Will you vote tonight?
We will vote.
Yeah.
They're all nervous about the timelines they have.
No, we'll take a vote tonight.
All right, thank you.
All right,
You
thank
can
you.
call
Thank
me in
you.
the morning, I'll be in after 9.
Okay,
Unless you
thanks.
wanted to stay, you can stay too.
Oh, maybe.
Okay.
Anywhere to go, do
All
it.
Okay. Well,
Switching.
with regard to the Mass Electric Company application, is there a motion?
Oh, she.
What do you?
So it would be
I make a
a
motion.
negative determination
Right.
subject to them carrying through with their mitigation measures?
I don't know, could it be?
As
I'd
recommended.
say yes.
As recommended. As recommended.
All right, so again, is there a motion?
I make a motion that we accept the applicant's proposal for exchanging the existing switching equipment at the Pondville substation and the installation of 2 monopoles on the property located at 17 Mill Street.
Okay, now, does that mean you want to issue a negative determination or positive
Like to
determination?
issue a negative determination.
Okay. and
I'll
that-
second that.
All right, and is that subject to the conditions set forth in the application?
Set forth in the application, yes.
Okay. And there's a second?
I second that as
Is there
well.
any further discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote.
I'm glad I hung around.
You can sleep
Yeah.
No, I
tonight.
can sleep tonight.
Took so long.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Nice to meet you.
Nice. Now, am I allowed
Oh,
to
yeah.
take the board
Oh,
or is that part of your?
yeah,
Yeah, take it.
Yeah, we'll let you take
Not the whiteboard, though.
Oh, okay.
Hold on, wait 1 minute through the chair. If we look at that picture there, the National Grid was so
Yeah.
nice to.
It's a sin.
If you look at the parking lot up there,
Yeah?
is that part of the area, like, for the enforcement? I believe that's the
No,
property. It's
no,
not.
No,
Okay.
it's way back.
Okay.
That way.
Okay, thank you.
Tom
Sounds
said
interesting.
Thank you.
Exit in a hurry.
You better get out while you can.
Right.
Good night, Jeff.
It does. I mean,
Thank
look
you.
at that.
Yeah, you're right.
Dan,
Right.
scroll up on the picture a little bit.
No, you're right though, it's close.
It's
There's
his fault.
definitely-
In fact, they're one of the
No, go,
abutters.
bring it to the left a little more. Okay, now, if you look
Down
at the
by-
picture right here,
Yeah.
That's right.
that's like clearly like something on the ground. Now up there, it looks just kind of like a little
It
dirty.
doesn't look.
But look at that. That looks like something's.
Let me see what you're looking at.
Surprising. So what are
Yeah.
you saying?
Now look at the picture
Yeah,
up
I
there.
don't know.
Yeah.
It's
So what are you saying about it? That is, it could be.
no, I was
No,
curious.
It's
as far-
adjacent to
That's
28
This stuff
Millbury
is so
Street.
tiny you
Okay.
can't even see
You can't
it.
even see it,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
all
It's
over.
like,
They're pellets.
Oh,
They're
I see what
little
you're saying.
it's almost like tapioca. It's all-
Oh, with the other ads.
Oh, right.
How that stuff like it's coming over.
Oh,
Oh, I know you're saying on the other one. Gotcha.
Okay.
so the other situation.
All
right.
right, so that was a negative, and then we still have,
You still have the
beaver
request,
dams.
the request for reconsideration. Now, as you will recall, after the last public hearing, we had issued a positive determination requiring the town to submit a notice of intent. The purpose of the request for reconsideration is for the board to reconsider requiring the town to issue a positive determination and requiring them to issue a notice of intent. So is there a motion?
I was negative before, I still moved to, based on that letter that they sent, and they've been through this before, they've gotten waivers already. I would say to grant them a negative determination on this one.
Okay.
I would second that.
All right, so just so we're clear, and it's clear on the record, your motion is to basically rescind our positive determination and issue a negative determination of applicability, provided that the town complies with the conditions set forth in the April 1, 2016 letter to me from William Coyle.
Yep.
Is that correct?
That is correct, that was
That
perfectly
was-
stated too.
wasn't that-
Yes,
nice
that
job.
is absolutely
Good job,
right.
Michelle.
Yes.
Oh, just, is there a second to that?
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote. Okay.
all right, they'll be coming to get rid of your beaver
Coming to
dams.
get you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
My yard thanks you as well.
Okay. All right.
Good night, Sharon. Thank you.
I think the last item we have are the meeting minutes from March 23rd.
We said we can hold those off, didn't
Do
we?
we have the will to do them, or do you want to defer them to the next meeting?
Get her done.
They're done, they're right here.
All right.
Because I don't have a copy. Maybe we could just look
I'll let
at
you borrow
it.
since I have to abstain from this.
So what
Oh,
was this
okay.
letter that we received?
All right.
Oh, you do,
Are we
okay.
gonna talk about this one?
Hold on.
That
Oh.
one?
Letter from the MACC director?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't really look at it.
I read that one.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we take up the meeting minutes of March 23rd, then we can take up the email from Randy Medley at MACC.
Okay. About halfway down the page, line starts with Mass DOT.
Yes.
Mr. Clardy believed most of the silt.
Okay.
halfway down, Jill,
Okay.
in Mass DOT.
Just believe that, what were you changing it to?
Most
Most
of
of
it's-
the silt.
Okay.
So add the word "the."
Last paragraph of the page. Ms. Paquin explained the sewer department has a main located near the beaver dams and is concerned.
Yeah, I think is the right.
That's fine.
Is,
His concern.
okay.
So concerned with the main becoming flooded by the extra water.
I don't have to say that.
Well, I was confused as to whether we're talking about there being a blockage or it's
How
just
about
the
by
extra.
by backed up water?
Oh, okay.
So after becoming flooded, it should add by backed up water. You see that, Sheila?
Yes, I've got it.
Okay.
I like how the first page ends with the phrase "relative to the beavers." Relative to the beavers.
That's right.
Third paragraph, page 2.
Yep. Starting with?
Starting with Matt Benoit.
Okay.
Explained the water
We'll flow back.
release will flow back. We're just saying the water will flow back into the pond.
Yeah, I think cross out level.
Okay.
Um, 715 Tech Associates, third paragraph. I think we may need to clarify some of the language here. Motion for a negative vote for the waiver. It's like a double negative there.
It is.
Let's clarify what we actually voted.
The motion was that they would not have to give notice.
Right.
It was to deny the waiver.
Right.
Well, wait.
That was to deny the waiver.
Because I remember voting to deny the waiver.
Right.
So,
So
motioned to deny the waiver.
that's right.
Okay, I think that's what it was, because
Right.
they kind of changed it all around.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank
so you
you.
want me just to,
Motion to,
To deny the waiver.
Instead of saying it's a negative
Yeah.
vote for
You're right.
something.
No, you're right.
seconded by.
Now, unfortunately, you don't indicate what the voting was after the first time we voted. Do you know what it was?
I had screwed that up, so it was everybody plus me. And then when I understood it better and re-voted,
Yeah, I don't
That's
know.
how
what-
it-
I don't know if there
I
was
still
a
think-
final
yeah.
vote on that.
Well, there was.
There
was
was.
a deadlock.
It's a deadlock, yeah.
it was a deadlock,
okay.
3-3. The original
Right.
time, he's asking about the original
Okay.
time because that was the second time because I,
You would, yeah, right.
All right, so,
I would say this, I think because rather than, I think just to, because the final vote is the one that mattered, I think you just,
get rid of all that.
I think you do,
Yeah.
actually.
Okay. So we'll just go,
That is the final.
Carolyn Caravo, motion to deny the request for waiver.
Yeah,
Okay,
Second by Dan.
all right.
Charles Olson.
So I'm gonna erase all that Carolyn Caravo motion.
She
Seconded
raised the
by
whole thing,
Dan,
okay.
Charles Olson was opposed. I'll scratch all that.
Yeah.
So have we gotten feedback on that yet?
we did, and because the vote did not carry, I mean, in order for the waiver request to have been allowed, the motion to deny the waiver would have had to have failed, and it did not fail. So a deadlock in this case was the same thing as requiring them to
To
give
do it,
notice
to
to
do
the
it.
abutters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So,
Good.
okay.
They have another request in for us to rework that though, right?
Well, they're on the agenda for the 27th, and I guess we'll
Right,
see what they're
request to
gonna do.
continue.
Okay.
So,
And I'm hoping they'll be able to send the notices out.
Right, because they have since sent us
I
a
don't know,
letter
did you guys
saying-
read that letter?
Yeah.
No.
They said it was gonna cost them like several $1,000 for
And they said that
manpower
they
to send out
wanted us
cards.
to reconsider.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's one here.
That was the,
This one right here.
oh yeah, okay, that wasn't.
The April
They're gonna appeal it, yeah.
They're gonna appeal it because they said that,
Right.
because there was another,
But there's
a
no
subsequent case in Wakefield or someplace where it was superseded.
DEP has made it clear that they're not gonna get involved. I also think that, frankly, they're going about this the wrong way. I think because frankly, I think the other way to go about this would be
Where
to
is
make service by first-class mail, and then do a certificate of service. But no one is contacted.
Certificate of mailing, you mean? A certificate of
of mailing,
Yeah.
certificate of service,
Okay,
you know, so.
well, I think I had informed them of that.
So, I mean, first-class mail is much cheaper than certified mail, so.
Yes, that's $1.30 a letter.
Exactly. So in any event,
So what are they going to do? They're going to appeal it?
I guess
That was-
they have no right of appeal.
No.
So in any event. Okay, so let's finish the meeting minutes of the 23rd. The remainder of the minutes look okay to me. Does anyone have any other corrections?
Discussions, 498 Rochdale Street, water is collecting on his property.
Well, collected, it was past tense. And as Mr. Quayle said, it happened about a month ago.
So is it collecting?
Wait, so
or
then
collecting?
stating the silt was running off the site? So then the tenses have to agree then.
How about this? Stated the silt is running off the site and that water had collected on his property.
Okay.
Okay?
Three Magna Vista Drive, Sharon Wharton wanted the debris removed.
Yes.
Just awkward wording.
Yes.
And to have the abutters
Notified about?
well, or
Notified not to be dumping leaves and grass near the wetland.
Not, I guess
How
that's
about advised not to be dumping leaves?
not notified, not to be advised. Or, no, I'm sorry, notified to be advised.
or advised to
How about to have the abutters advised not to dump leaves and grass?
right.
Is there a motion?
Make a motion to accept the expressions of the March 23rd meeting
As amended?
as amended.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention? Okay, Mr. Fallon abstains. Okay, finally, we received an email from Randy Medley at the MACC concerned about bills in the legislature.
What?
And apparently they are looking for assistance from commissions.
It sounds like we have, we really don't have much of a choice. I mean,
Well, the reality is that our bylaw, we have a bylaw, we have regulations that are in place, you know? Do I think, do we want DP to necessarily reverse decisions made under a bylaw ordinance? No. So I get, and again, this is more, it says we may need help with that if the bills start moving. Would you or someone in your commission be willing to work with us on that? Who would that be? So I don't know if these bills are in committee. Hold on. I don't know if these bills are in committee, if they're actually under active consideration. So I would think we need more information about it. So perhaps we could be in touch with either Ms. Medley, who's an intern, or with Eugene Benson and ask just to keep us apprised of activity in the legislature.
I mean, what it sounds like is this would be being proposed by folks who want less regulation.
Yes.
I mean, it's not, to allowing DP to reverse decisions made by commissions is more to the effect of, if a project proponent says, we think the bylaw is too onerous, DEP, we want you to reverse this, that sounds what it looks like to me.
I mean, the reality is that there's already a process in place. If an applicant feels aggrieved by a town or city's conservation commission decision, their right of appeal, say of a notice of intent or a denial, is to the DEP. So I think the language that's used here is a little imprecise. That's why I think we need to get more details.
Right.
So perhaps we could, like I said, someone could contact Mr. Benson or Ms. Medley and ask them for more information.
I would do that.
Okay, that'd be great. And I think that's it, unless someone has anything else.
I just have one other item in the same line.
Sure.
This, the emails that Sheila forwards to us from Mac, on the same thing as this, there's a proposal, there's a bill proposed right now that's going to allow all the funds that are kept in the conservation commissions for each city or town, which are separate.
General
We have
account.
like 50-something thousand to go into a general account that can be
No.
spent any way the
No.
town wants. Seriously, this is how, yeah,
Yeah,
it's,
that's not.
it's in there now and that's scary.
There's a reason why it's in a segregated account.
And can I make a suggestion?
Exactly.
And I concur. I think the funds should be kept separate. They always have been. Because I think that the fear is that once they go into the general
They
fund,
disappear.
they disappear. They're used for other
Right.
activities. So it appears there's a consensus that this is not a good thing. So would someone like to make a motion to let MACC know how we feel about this?
I can do
I
that.
make a motion that Sheila notify the MACC how we feel about this.
That's what I would do. I second that.
Thanks.
I concur.
Thank you,
Okay,
Mr.
is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed to vote. And I think what it would be, Sheila, and I could even come up with a letter. If I don't have the details of the bill, I'm sure we can get those details, but once we get the details, if we can go on record as saying,
It was on the last Mac, yeah, and there's probably
Okay.
links on there that'll
It
show.
was on
Right.
that.
Do you want me just to resend that, MACC?
I just need to know what the bill number is, and then I can,
Oh,
I
that
can
was
have
That
something.
scares me more than
That's
this.
very
I'll let her
scary.
know.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. More.
I mean, it sounds like a straight up attempt to undermine regulation.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, without knowing the extra details, it just sounds kind of like that's what's going on there. So that would suggest that any town that doesn't have a bylaw, they're like, nope, you don't get to have one.
Right.
I think.
Yeah.
I think so you can use somebody
And we're
else's
taking
money.
your money.
Yeah, we'll take the
Right, well,
Yeah, use somebody else's
well,
money.
and knowing that DEP is frequently overstuffed with business, and if the town doesn't have a bylaw, then it just goes whoop. Oops.
Yeah.
Guess it slid through.
Yep.
Come on.
Let it go somewhere else. No, thank you.
If there is nothing else, is there a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote. Thank you very much, everyone.